Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's Impact. I'm not going to say how I felt about the show until the end, but I am going to talk about the beginning of the show in MVP's office, with Anderson, Gunner, Rude, and Young there. Now it felt corny having them to pull cards, but it wasn't that bad. Seeing that Gunner had to be paired up with Anderson, and then the next person will go up against Rude was not that bad. In fact, it was okay. Gunner is an up-and-coming star. Rude and Anderson are already established. They've been established for quite a while now. So him going through them wasn't bad. And I didn't mind that. And the one that had to oversee it all was Eric Young. He did some very good promos throughout the night, Eric Young. I didn't mind them at all. He's kind of reminds me of Randy Orton having a monotone voice. Well, you know, I'm like this. That's how Eric Young sounds. You know, he sounds like an old wino used to know named Chin. Well, you know, I'm going to talk like this because that's the only way I can talk. Because my throat's completely damaged. That sounds like Eric Young. But that is a black man's accent right there. But the tone is the same. But he still gets over very well with it. So let's do the matches first. Sorry. Don't talk like that often. Gunner and Anderson was a good match. And then something at the end happens that gives me a little hope. Storm comes out near the end of the match, tries to screw over Gunner. But he actually screws over Anderson. Okay. Gunner moves on to Rude, which there's no problem with that. Rude and Gunner had their match. Also a good match. It doesn't have to be super technical, but it was good enough that it could pass by for me personally. And Rude won over this. Now you could say, why not put Gunner? Why it's got to be Rude? Well, Gunner's a face right now. And it would make no sense for him to move on over to Eli unless they're going to turn him heel. And I think he wouldn't do well as a heel right now. He's way too over as a face. But here's the thing that makes me very confident. Well, hopefully confident. That we'll get something new from Storm. Storm versus Willow. That actually, I believe, was the match of the night. You could say that Young and Rude was the match of the night. I say that's the second best match of the night. The only reason I'm putting it in that respect, that it's the match of the night, is what happened afterward. Once Storm pushed the hell out of the ref saying, don't you try and grab my beard. Boom. Kick your ass. And basically shows everybody that he is the man never to mess with when he got a beer bottle in his hand, baby. The thing that fills me with a little hope, a little confidence, a little hope, is an Anderson-Storm feud. Yes, I would not mind seeing an Anderson-Storm feud. He's already dealt with Shaw. It's done. Sean's gone to the paddy wagon. When he comes back, he'll have someone else to deal with. I'm hoping to be someone interesting. That's why I'm hoping for Shaw. But we need to move Anderson on. So let him deal with a Storm. They set it up pretty well. Storm got Anderson screwed. In other words, he kicked him in the head. So now Anderson screws over Storm by basically mic checking him into the ramp. And that looked a little rough. If Storm had not bent the way he did, I think he would have whacked his head into the ramp pretty hard, if he didn't already. But I didn't mind that. I want to see this feud. It's something we haven't seen. Not connected to the horrible Aces and Eights. Now let's move on to... Oh, this makes me happy. The exhibition match of Rockstar Spud and EC3. How dare Angle come out and interfere with such an epic confrontation between two great men? Rockstar Spud never ceases to amaze me how funny he is. Getting on the mat, trying to mess with EC3, it wasn't bad at all. But then we had to get in a position when you lose a point And, well, before you, I don't really know anything about amateur wrestling per se. But if you lose your position, the ref can force you to get into basically not a prone position, but a kneeling position and everything else like that. Spud just made it very comedic. I enjoyed it until that Angle came out and tried to make EC3 look terrible. How the hell does he have the right to do that? He got no damn right. But I gotta say, Angle at least sounded more like he did last week. He sounds determined to destroy EC3. But I still don't see what the cost is going to be. Now you could say, dude, what do you mean the cost? He's just going to kick his ass. He's going to hurt him. In this respect, we've already gone through that. We need a step more. Will EC3 be harmed in a way that he can't come back? Maybe will they do an I Quit match? That would be the best option after this match next week. I would love to see an I Quit match between Angle and EC3. I know we just already had one, but it actually makes sense for these two. You want EC3 to really get over here. And EC3 is the icon of professional wrestling. Don't worry about the Sting. He's a has-been. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You know, I'm kidding. But you get my point. And I still love Spud. Okay. Menagerie. Seeing Nux and Rebel again fills me with some hope. I know someone said earlier, hey, Rebel's not going to wrestle. She's a manager. Dude, we know now that managers eventually become wrestlers. It's just a matter of time. I expect Rebel to become a wrestler maybe next year or the year afterward. Between a year to a year and a half, either she's going to go to maybe OVW, maybe she will. Or she'll go to maybe another promotion to hone her craft. But it's going to happen that she's going to become a wrestler eventually. So that fills me with a lot of hope that we'll have another woman in the mix. But who the hell is the Freak and Crazy Steve? I am so hoping it's not Garrett and Wes. I'm really hoping. Let it be someone else. I don't care if it's an old WWE guy. I don't care if it's an OH guy. I don't care if they're from AAA or New Japan or Wrestle One. I just don't want to see Garrett and Wes Bishop on my TV. Unless they went away and actually learned something while they've been gone, only then I would accept that. But I doubt it. Now, we have the... Seeing in the beginning of the show, right after the segment with the MVP, a Magnus come out and complain was one thing. But I have to say this was a little scrambled. Seeing the Abyss come out does make sense. We don't know if Abyss is still part of the TNA roster, but that's the problem. If he's not part of the TNA roster, why is he allowed to go back inside? Where was security? I'm sorry. Since they not clarified this, having him run around without security trying to stop him once it's done leaves a loose end for me personally. I just don't like that. It would have been better if security had came out just afterward, or the refs, and that would have hinted him becoming an actual talent of TNA again. But since neither came out, it didn't feel right. But then the segment after that was maybe halfway through the show with Magnus and Brian, if I'm pronouncing his name. I believe it was the former TNA guy. Or he knew him over in England. Is he going to be part of the roster now? Is there going to be a short feud with him? Will he become his manager and then maybe become a wrestler himself? That actually is a very interesting question. And I wouldn't mind seeing that being answered, because that could actually be something interesting. Look, let's be honest here. Magnus is a mess. They screwed him over when AJ was still there. They screwed him over after AJ left. All this time you have a guy in a Magnus who has the right size. He looks like Hugh Jackman. He's got the right way of talking. He can tell a decent story in the ring. He's well established as a TNA guy. Things that you could have built on top of TNA. But you tore him down to do what? Nothing. Because no one believed that he was credible enough to go up against AJ Styles and beat him. I really believe they made a horrible mistake by not letting him go over. Now, I admit, when that happened, I thought it was the right thing. But now looking nearly 8 months into it, it was a terrible idea. So I'm hoping this guy will come in and give him something new. Maybe he'll be a manager. Maybe he'll be his tag team partner. Maybe he'll just be there periodically as a friend. Something to bring Magnus back, because we need it. Bully Ray and... Wake up. Oh, this is... I gotta say this. The TNA crowd really made this interesting. The Impact crowd, they did. So it wasn't totally garbage. It wasn't. It wasn't bad at all. The security guards for TNA walking away was actually pretty good. Him getting his butt somewhat kicked and then kicking the butt of the remaining security guards was alright. Dixie's segment wasn't... I didn't like Dixie's segment. Do you know who I am? Yeah, you're the woman I want to spread the legs up and do something with a bag on your head. I'm sorry I had to say it like that, but I'm just saying that she just has been overexposed and I'm sick of her. If she was in front of me, she's not an ugly woman, but the way I feel about her, I would tell her to wear a bag on her head and let me just do something to you. Because I just don't want to see her for a while. She needs to go away. But here's the thing. She's not going away. Barred with Bully Ray by MVP. I don't know how to feel about this. The segment after that wasn't bad at all. It went along with storyline. Saying, how did you become the manager of operation? I'm the one who did it. He said, true, but I am the one who's responsible. You're barred, but that doesn't mean you can't kick her ass outside the ring. So what did he say at the end of the show? I'm coming for Dixie at Memphis. That makes sense. It's a good leading into it. So finally, if I'm forgetting anything, oh yes I am. The beautiful people coming to the ring with a fake letter saying that we can't show enough. Well, I'm watching this is because I wanted to see so much more. Why the hell didn't they just let them do it near the ring? Why did they have to do it up the ramp? Come on, we've seen a lot worse in wrestling. The in-ring segment was nice. It was somewhat arousing. I'm sure guys got a rocket in their pocket when they thought they were about to strip down to their panties and bra. I was 7 of them. But the problem I have is this. The segment wasn't bad with Gail Kim. I'm alright with it. That other part with Brittany and Madison Rayne makes sense. And I really believe that Brittany's going to turn on Madison to become a creepy lesbian bitch. I'm not being nasty. That's just how I'm going to see it. I don't think Madison Rayne's going to turn heel. She's going to stay face and Brittany's going to turn heel. But why couldn't they allow them to strip near the bottom of the ramp, right next to the ring, and let the people see them run up? It actually would have been more better television. At the top of the ramp, you don't really see much. Yeah, you see a little bit of skin, but it really isn't dramatic enough. And that's where I have a gripe about it. You're probably going to say, dude, you just want to see titties and ass bounce. Yes! If you're going to do this on Spike Television, this is in USA, why not do it at the bottom of the ramp, right next to the ring, and let both of them shake their asses up the ramp? It would have been more dramatic. But it wasn't a bad segment. And it did spotlight the knockouts more. Now the question is, are we going to have better feuds and then more in-ring performances? That's what I'm hoping for next. But it got to start somewhere. Finally, we got Rude versus Eric Young. At one point during the night, they showed a video segment of them together, which wasn't bad at all. Sorry, the reason I botch is that Eric Young has done well. Storm just didn't have enough of a segment in there and talk about his time with him in Team Canada and everything else. That is what I feel like this could have been better. If you allowed Rude, I'm about to say Storm again, if you allowed Rude to say a little bit more during the night, saying if I meet him, I know what I need to do with him, I work with him, I will kick his ass. I would have liked to hear more of that. But taking that away from the match, it was actually a pretty good match. And at the end, Eric Young retains, and the crowd was just happy. They were epically happy. Just like they were cheering for Spud, they cheer even more for Eric Young. So what does this mean about the entire show? I wanted to hold this until the end. Actually, this show was more balanced. Doesn't mean it was better. No, there's still a lot of things missing. We don't know what's going on with the Biz. I really believe that wasn't great. We need more from the knockouts, but because we have so few women, it makes it very hard to deal with. But this segment did kind of compensate a little bit for it. It was a little more balanced. It's trying to get people to be more interested because they're willing to show more flesh. I'm hoping that a Anderson and Storm feud will come. The reason I didn't want to talk about the Wolves and Sonata with Bromance and Zima Irons because I don't want to think about this. I really want the Wolves to go after somebody else. And that's the problem. There's no one else for them to work with. That's my gripe right there. TNA has no tag teams and that is frustrating me. That's why I didn't do a review on it. But I can say that they tried their best to put a little bit more better balance into each segment throughout the night. So this show felt more balanced. Not well balanced, more balanced. So I hope you enjoyed the Zane view. Please give me a comment below. Maybe give me a like once in a while. And I will be getting to, well, Extreme Rules is this weekend. I will be seeing it. And I will tell you my feelings on it. Peace out!